Hey, I'm going to be giving you a quick overview today of RGT's rather brilliant electric guitar playing grades. These grades go from preliminary stage, which is now called step 1, right through to grade A. These are fantastic grades, they're really well thought out and they give you a right grilling. So from preliminary level, or step 1 as it's now called, through to grade 8, aim to provide the electric guitar player with a very comprehensive and well-rounded set of skills. Why I think these grades are great is because they're very practical, they're very relatable for guitar players, whereas other grades will just teach you to play a load of songs. These give you the actual skills that a guitar player will need to play electric guitar, to play in bands, to do recordings, to do all sorts of things that they may aspire to do later on. What these grades don't do is they don't teach you a load of songs, as I've mentioned before, so if you want to play Sweet Child of Mine, then you may need to look at some other grades. If nothing else, these grades will give students such a good grounding in all the applicable skills that you're actually going to need. So to give you an idea, guys, from step 1, or the preliminary grade, you will be asked a selection of scales and arpeggios: C major scale, G major scale, A natural minor scale, E blues scale. You will be required to play all of these from memory without any book in front of you. So to give you an idea, guys, without me going through every single grade, when you get to grade 8, you will be grilled on things like 3-octave chromatic scales, 3-octave major scales, 3-octave natural minor scales, a selection of modes, and dominant 7 and dominant 13 arpeggios. If that wasn't enough, they may even call on stuff that was in the previous grade. The next section is similar, but this time we're talking about chords. So from the step 1 or preliminary grade, you'll be asked a selection of open chords, G's, C's, D's, perhaps a B7 and a couple of dominant 7th chords. So by the time you reach grade 8, guys, for your chords, if you're working towards that exam, you will be expected to know a selection of dominant 11, dominant 13 chords, as well as 5 positions of all your caged dominant 7th chords, plus, if that wasn't enough, a selection of chords from the previous grade. So as I say, by the time you reach grade 8, that's a pretty heavy amount of stuff that you're going to need to have together. So that's scales, arpeggios and chords up to grade 8. Next, there will be a rhythm playing section where you will be given an unseen chord chart, and from that, in the exam, you have to play that chord chart with applicable dynamics, with applicable coders and repeats and things like that. Without giving too much away, guys, I'm going to give you a couple of quick rhythm playing examples showing you the kind of thing that you would be expected to be able to play at a given level. Do bear in mind that these are just shortened examples and they are the kind of thing that you're expected to play from sight in the exam. So the chords that I'm playing are things that a candidate would be expected to look at and be able to play. All right. The next section is a lead playing section where the candidate would be asked to improvise, applying a selection of the scales, arpeggios, modes that they've learnt previously. Again, it's just why I love it, because you're actually being asked to apply this stuff, whereas other times it's just like, oh, just play all those scales, just play all those arpeggios. You're actually being asked to apply, which for obvious reasons as a musician is really important. The next section is called spoken tests, where you will be asked a few questions about theory-related subjects. So to give you a bit of an idea, from the initial preliminary or step 1 grade, you're asked of positions of a few of the notes on the guitar, and then sort of basic anatomy of the guitar, where things are, etc. So by the time you reach grade 8, you're going to take things a lot further. You could be asked anything from kind of extended chord construction, anything about altered chords, transposition, notes that appear within keys. So by that time, again, you've got a massive amount of practical information at your disposal. Next is the aural assessment, where you're asked a range of different questions which test your ability to, for example, repeat back a rhythm. There's some pitch tests, some harmony tests, which, as you can imagine, only become more advanced as you ascend up the grade. Again, it's very practical, which is great. These are all skills that an electric guitar player is going to actually need in the real world. Now, for grades 6 to 8, guys, there is an additional section called a specialism. Specialism is asking you to demonstrate a particular skill. Candidates can choose just to play another rhythm playing chart, different obviously from the one they did previously, or a lead playing chart, or they can prepare something else. That something else could be a slide guitar piece, it could be a tapping rock thing, it could be a fingerstyle thing, or you can actually ask to do some sight reading, and there will be a sight reading chart for you to prepare. That would be all the candidate would be required to do for the exam, but as you can see, that is a fairly comprehensive selection of skills which a candidate would have to get together. Even if you don't want to do the exam, guys, I honestly recommend getting hold of one of these books, whether it's for you or it's for one of your students. They will give you such a grilling that even if you're using it to work alongside another graded piece, these are a really great way of really refining your skills and becoming better. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Obviously, if you've got any questions about these grades at all, just let me know. Cheers.